Okay. I think we're ready. Good? Head nods all around? All right. She says love is a dangerous game. So we began writing this record in January of 2020 when Nick was heading to Australia. I had just moved here from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and our bass player at the time had moved from the UK. So we were travelers, very much so. And it was like a working title because I knew that there was going to be certain songs on this record that had that theme all together, and I liked that theme.
We had a lot of things all happening at the same time, but we all felt like we were moving in a general new direction. And the word travelers seemed to fit. It wasn't something that we thought may be the final word, but it ended up playing really, really well for the record. And actually, looking back now at all the tracks, they all start to fill that same concept or that same context that we had when we were first putting it together. And I think it was a demo. It was a demo at first that then turned into kind of a full album at that point.
What was the writing process like? So it was our first time writing basically as a duo at first, because we had sort of dived into getting better with like digital audio workstations and stuff. So I remember we were doing like drawing a MIDI bass and stuff like that too. The first EP, Nick and I wrote basically back to back because he had a little spare room and his drum throne backed up right against the computer chair that I would sit at to write the thing. So we had flipped things around, and there's probably video of this era of us finally facing each other, working out these songs like piece by piece, note by note, like melody by melody. So that was cool to be in a room, because the first EP was just like bits and pieces put together, but this one was definitely like purpose driven, had a thing to it, and it just had a vibe.
For me, I always came from a place way back when of doing way too much, trying to show off way too much, having way more involvement. And in this band specifically, I've seen an avenue for me to try to hold it back a little bit more and to keep everything else together, from myself keeping a really solid foundation together. So this record specifically, I wanted to make sure, you know, I have moments where I feel like I'm really proud of different avenues and different things that I've added to it to make it feel a little bit more powerful. But really, when you're in a three-piece and you have a bunch of different people trying to shine in different areas, making sure I know where my place is within the groove. And so it's not just playing on the backtrack, it's not just being kind of the background for the other two people to fill, but knowing where my place is has been kind of the fun part of putting this album together and these tracks together specifically. So I find my avenues to kind of showcase myself, but really it's making sure that everybody together and collectively can highlight themselves as well.
Coming in basically to record this album, I kind of knew ahead of time that all the songs were pretty much written. So as a bass player, you get access to the charts. If somebody writes a good song and wants to, you know, make a note of it, they'll have notes for you. So that kind of just was easy for me to kind of start by reading charts and then think about maybe bass melodies and adding my own little flavor afterwards, you know, kind of just a little bit extra chunk here and there, but definitely didn't want to ever play too much because the songs kind of have a good space about them already. So a couple rules I guess I had were respect the space of others and play the right chords. And that was about it.
Yeah. So go. Huh? 1, 2, 3.
If I had to nail it down, I'd say my favorite track on the record is probably Look Alive. It's got like just an energy about it and a headstrong kind of just cruising vibe, you know, and that's really, you don't have to think about it too much, you just kind of feel it, you know. That's a good way to put it.
It just got this creepy cool vibe. We used to call it, the working title on it was Gator Surf, because we do really, really well with the swampy stuff, but like we're also for a while trying to be a surf band sort of in the middle of all of it. And I just like the lyrics. Some of those lyrics have been kicking around, and back when we used to handwrite stuff, for years. So it's cool to finally get those off of my hard drive in my head and my computer too.
You gotta look alive, man.
But you always call the morning when it's looking like you're ready to fall, and all that glitters it ain't gold.
So when the writing was on the wall that I was heading to Akron, when I was moving from Ann Arbor to Akron, I was wrapping up a recording session with Cindy Lou, and there was the possibility that I would have to do remote work. And I posted on one of the Akron musician pages looking for a studio that could record upright bass and guitar. And Jeff was the very first person to throw his hat in the ring. And he even like all together, we even got together and showed me the studio, and I was really, really impressed. We ended up not doing that recording project here, but I knew that next time I had something, I had to call Jeff.
Recording at Sta-Level has been great. One of the things specifically as a drummer, I always feel like I have a fair degree of pressure, because the drum tracks, that you've got to get those perfect. You've got to get the sound right, and you've got to record those tracks perfectly. And Jeff and the Sta-Level team has made this so comfortable and so easy. One thing I know, when I was younger, it was about my drums and my cymbals to make the sound that I think makes the most sense. But being able to work with people who know what our feel and our sound is supposed to be, like, we came into this whole process with, here are the tracks, here are the sounds that we want to try to encapsulate. And Sta-Level did a really great job of saying, hey, let's play with these cymbals, let's play with these drums. And we spent a lot of time, day one, making sure that we had that drum sound down. And it was one less thing I had to worry about, because I knew that Sta-Level had that filled in, had that piece taken care of.
He provides a nice, a nice comfortable environment to kind of come in and do your thing. Has a lot of good equipment that he knows how to use correctly and for the best. And he's not going to BS you either. If you're trying to get something done, he's going to give you an honest opinion and help you work to fix it. And that's really, that's kind of a quality I expect in an efficient and productive producer.
So Something Wicked is just a journey darker and darker into depravity. And I one thing I love, and this is not about no one in particular with the band, but about this just individual, my head always goes to New Orleans, but how you can just start moving yourself deeper and darker into a mental place. And that can just be one gateway activity that starts to drive you deeper and deeper into a different consciousness, into a different physical state, and the way that you interact with the people around you.
What do you enjoy about playing with Nick? Nick brings the energy, and as a bass player, a lot of times they feel they're supposed to be the heartbeat of the band, but in this case, I really feel like Nick's the heartbeat of the band and always giving the punch, and especially as a three-piece, you need the drummer to kind of keep it moving at all times, and he provides the foundation for Bert and I to kind of get out and do our thing in a nice landscape, if you will.
He's an absolute brother. That was really cool. I remember putting out the email, or putting out the Craigslist post and looking for somebody, and two people got to me, and it was him and then somebody else. And I remember I went down and jammed with Nick, and I knew right away that I wasn't going to call the other guy. But I was trying to be cordial, because trying to cover all my bases. So I remember emailing the guy, and he had videos of him playing some of the cover songs that I'd listed, or some of the artists I'd listed. It's hey, I think things are going to work out with this other guy, but can I keep your number in case? And the guy just ghosted me. So I kind of went all in with him, and it sort of paid off. Also, too, Nick has the thing that I don't have, which is direction and focus, and that's really cool. So. So 18 Wheels came to me when I was in the back of the van with Whitey Morgan. It came to me at the same time that Last Train Home came to me. But like, it was, again, another one of those things really, really out there for what I was doing at the time. And I knew I wanted to do it justice. I knew it meant an awful lot to me. That's another one that's had just a million verses written for it that I've thrown out. But that chorus just keeps coming back to that chorus part in there too. It started out, if I could find any of the original demos, it started out almost nothing like that. But I hear that intro riff and I just know that there's a story behind it. So every time I hear that, I'm back in that zone, I'm back in that seat, watching the Midwest pass me by.
So bringing Doug into this entire project and into this band has created a new level for me of having somebody at my side to keep that groove going. And one thing I've really realized with the songs that we've been putting into the record is that there's a lot more just groove and feeling into the songs that we have. And it's a testament to what Doug's putting onto it, but it's also a testament to him hearing me and me hearing him and putting together something that fills a really nice backbone to then let Bert play, let Bert go out, but then come right back and have that feeling. And there's several tracks on this record I'm really excited about because in some ways we have this big, powerful solo that then all the air comes out and that groove is still there.
Awesome tone. And just from day one, he did his homework. That was so cool. That was awesome. So, but mostly his tone. It was just like in person and on the bass. It just fits everything. It pairs well. He's like a fine wine. He pairs well with everything. Are You Giving Up really comes from this awesome feel of like the Motown sort of thing coming into there, mixed with this nervous feeling of all the root stuff, especially this neo roots that's coming out. And it was a perfect vessel to tell the story of my own sort of struggles with mental health and my own issues. Oftentimes I get so lost in my head and so paranoid that the people around me hate me, and sometimes it might be true, that I just can't help but just absolutely destroy social situations that I'm in. So that's where that came from.
Bert. What do I enjoy about playing with Bert? Here's the thing, and albums are great, but for me it's so much about how people experience live music. And one thing that I've really enjoyed about playing with Bert is that we can just play a song. We can get into a groove, we can get into a new part of a tune and start to gauge what the crowd is doing, what the audience is doing, and not feel like we're stuck in what the song is supposed to sound like. Meaning we can take a solo and we can drag that thing out because we know that the crowd's into it. We can play to our audience, and I think that's the best thing that you get out of a musical artist, you get out of like live theater, is that people start to rely on the crowd and the people that are there to create an experience. And I think Bert is really good at moving outside of the regimented structure of a song, and me and him can play together to make something better than it is, maybe even in a recorded aspect, when we take it live. And we can create something that's really powerful and something that has a lot of emotion behind it. Because I love, in what I play, to play with emotion. I feel like Bert can feed off of that, take it in a new direction, and we can take what everybody sees to create kind of a collective experience together.
There was a long time where I thought it'd be cool to play with Bert, but we were just like co-workers, and that was really about it. I was working in operations at Guitar Center, and he was a lessons instructor, kind of newly employed. So our ships kind of like passed in the night because he ended up staying and working for a while, and I was kind of on my way out, I think maybe within the first year of him working there, so something around that. But once I moved back into the area, kind of just like, you know, Bert's a good dude. He's someone I've stayed in touch with, and I knew he was a sick guitar player, and you know, I was really honored to get the call to just get to do some stuff with him.
I specifically wrote that one around the dumbest intro I could come up with. I love this. I like the song. No, the song's not dumb, but I just wanted a big dumb reason to hit notes on the guitar like that. And also because all my macho guitar playing friends hate capos, I make sure to put a capo at the first fret. So I basically memed my way into that song.
My heartache begins.
So what guitar players do I draw inspiration from? I get asked this a lot, and it's always the same 4 people. You know, it's Danny Gatton, Jimi Hendrix, right at the top of all of it. Greg Koch, who we actually got to open up for not too long ago, and a great guy, great friend, somebody who I really idolize, by the way, because he is just a fantastic guitar player that never needed to be attached to a large band or a larger name than himself. Somebody that I really look up to, and of course. Carl Bradychuk, who's the guy that I worked with in Detroit for years, has always been somebody that I've copied almost everything I could from. In fact, this record is probably the biggest departure from it because he and I don't really play together anymore, so I kind of stopped sounding like him. Love Song from an Empty Room started off as trying to like write a Led Zeppelin riff. I had just got new software that gave me the When the Levee Breaks drum sound, which I always said once I got that I would never need a real drummer. Sorry, Nick, but I got it, and I just wrote a riff around that sound. And where did the rest? Another one of those things where we're just practicing working to our digital audio workstation, our DAW, and just words were coming out and things were happening. And there's another one where there's some biography in there. There's some true stories and some lies, just like every one of these songs.
Empty room. It's in the air, it's coming true. A love song from an empty room.
You can kind of listen to any music, whatever it is, and pull inspiration from it. Whether it's the bass playing and being a bass player, or I get inspired by other guitar players and just hearing cool licks and stuff. Hearing something that'd be impossible to play on bass, but then like ultimately thinking in the back of your head, that would be, maybe there is a way to do that, you know, and kind of explore yourself. So, you know, the more progressive side definitely comes out in me, in that aspect. But you know, there's that Geddy Lee influence again, and you know, Barry Oakley kind of is a pretty good match for this band too, because a lot of, you know, I'm not gonna call it country music, but like Allman Brothers weren't country music either, you know. So there you go.
Ship to Come In though, it's a piratey tune, but it actually has a lot of backbone and bite to it as well. And there's a lot there about longing. I was in a band called the Carcadens for years in college, and a lot of the themes that came from that really stuck with me over the years is that longing for adventure, longing for something different, something new, going out and seeing what's out there, but then always knowing that there's a port to come home to. And that's a lot of the driving aspect of this song specifically, is going out looking for something new, but at the same time knowing that there are other things to come back to as well. So that sense of adventure that comes with the whole traveling aspect, there's a bit of wanderlust involved with it as well, makes that track really exciting and interesting.
Somewhere, somehow.
I really enjoyed the drumming of Mike Portnoy growing up. Everything was prog rock because you started to look at things as, what can I do? How many different things can I do? How creative can I be? How much can I add to a track? And for me though, it's been so much about pulling back from that, pulling back from prog rock. How can I influence the overall song and make it more about the entire groove and not just myself? So I love questions like this where they ask for singular inspiration, because it gets pulled from everywhere, and it's not just from drummers but from the music collective as a whole.
Coming Home came to me when I was on my way to get a haircut. I had pulled in the parking lot and I had the last verse just sort of in my head, and I remember thinking like, oh, that's got to be this song or that song. You know, it's one of those things where it's just a melody gets caught in your head. But then I just picked up a guitar and I could feel those extra 2 beats in there because it's got this weird turnaround thing. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a Jason Isbell song or a Drive By Trucker song that's what I was just listening to before.
One of the things I really like about the track Coming Home too, with the lyrics that Bert was putting together to it, you know, with all of us being kind of Midwestern, that whole concept of seeing all of these planes that are going off to new and exciting places, but they're always flying over. You don't actually see them landing where we live. You don't see people coming in and vacationing in Ohio or in Michigan. And there's just a really cool concept there that you see all these people living their dreams and going off and doing these either vacations or new opportunities while everybody else is still feeling like they're stuck. And that really drives home a really great emotional aspect to that track, which I just absolutely love.
We tossed around the idea of covering the King of the Hill theme because it kind of fits us, but we were also kind of sick of playing covers and like learning covers. So and we also were not going to do any covers for this record, so we just decided to write our own. And instead of King of the Hill, it's Queen of the Valley. I think that's it. We're done. All the tracks.
Woo! Oh, there we go.
So
that feels good.
Our second release, Travelers, is out now. Nick, where can they find it?
They can find it anywhere they stream music, Bert. I particularly like Spotify, but you can find it anywhere music is available. We're going to have hard copies available at our upcoming shows, which is really exciting.
For the 10 people that do that still.
Hey, if you need it, we got it. Doug, what are they going to get with Travelers here?
Travelers kind of has a lot of different vibes, but if you really think about it, it's really just the Moderns vibe. That means you're going to get a little bit of almost a little country twang, maybe a little chicken picking, some cow punk, some punk, a little surf vibe. Really just, if you go travel, just throw it on.
We're really excited about this release. We hope all of you are as well. We can't wait to get the feedback. Hopefully good. Keep it light if it's bad, but thank you all so much for everything you've done for us to help us make this possible. We couldn't do it without all of you. So for myself, Doug, Bert, thank you all so much. We will see you all very soon.
What do we say? Cow
tipping, whiskey sipping.
Cow tipping, whiskey sipping. Hey, bailing. Guitar picking.
Hail bailing.
Chicken
Lady
picking.
wailing.
Lady wailing. Oh, I like that one.
You got to remember this. Chicken picking.
Papers over there.
You got to read it off the list. So, yeah, that would be funny.
Chicken picking, finger licking.
According to you and your
it's gonna be real good.
Bert
guitar
says
music.
it's gonna be.
He reads be like, "Yep, guitar real loud, please." You know, like.
Hilarious.
My favorite part is when it's done.
Yeah. Either way, find the record wherever you stream music. Thank you so much.
Anything else? Anything else we need to say about this record? Because I can punch it. I can cut hard.
Hard
YouTube
cuts.
Now, they go hard cut.
They let you do cuts?
Ryan's World goes hard cut.
Oh, dude, you guys are dads, by the way.
Ryan's World. I am jealous of Ryan because Ryan's World is making his parents bank.
I think he's actually making him SoftBank too. I saw a little documentary.
Of course they say that. It's in a college fund.
College fund, yeah.
Oh, you're not. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just can't be in the
He gets
conversation.
real opinionated when talking about kids.
I'd say so. I think we nailed it.